So when I think of feminism, for me, I think it goes beyond the concept of socio-political economic parity or gender equality, and talks about intersectionality. It goes beyond the binary of male-female or the binary of gender, and talks about class, caste, ethnicity, and different forms of privileges and vulnerabilities that one can exercise. And it talks, and for me, it also means to sort of smash the patriarchy. And when I say that I'm a part of the feminist movement, I look at myself not just as an ally, but also as a participant, because I feel that the feminist movement also benefits and also aims to eradicate different forms of oppression that happens to men as well, and because and it creates a society where people are more self-aware, empathetic, and have more and sort of humanize each other more. I think my upbringing in my own house obviously played a huge role, but I think the school played a much bigger role, because school mein our uniforms, boys girls farak, line, even assembly ko line mein nahi boys girls farak, and the way we were treated, boys girls, every form of treatment was farak, and we were sort of made to think in a way that these are completely different species altogether, and they think differently, they eat differently, they behave differently, and they perceive things differently. Bhanne khalko perception build gareko थियो. And at that point of time, I wasn't aware of the benefits that I exercised, but now I guess now I am. And at that point of time, I wasn't aware that I was a part of the problem as well. So I think the schooling probably played a much bigger role in my case. Patriarchy is a very complex system and it has so many layers to it. And we sort of try to overgeneralize this as a system of oppression of women by men, undermining the fact that there are men. Obviously, all the men benefit from this particular system, but not all of them play a part in the oppression, or because there are different layers where powerful men oppress the less powerful men, and they in turn oppress women. So there are different layers, and I feel that as someone who is a part of this oppressive system, who benefits from the system but is also oppressed by it, it holds a lot of value in me, and I feel to create a more sort of empathetic, humane society or a system, challenging these power structures of patriarchy and capitalism. You just can't take capitalism out, because capitalism is the system that reinforces patriarchy. So I think challenging those systems are very important. Again, everybody has their own journey and their own ways of learning. I think the process of being aware of themselves, the self-awareness process is very important, and then to always try to listen to others. I think listening is something that is extremely important, especially being aware of, even while growing up, being aware of the unfair benefits that they have, and or the vulnerabilities that they have that are also unfair. So I think that is something that I don't know if young people can relate to, but definitely can think of trying to be better listeners growing up, and learning and trusting those stories that others tell you. In terms of books, I think I've personally learned more from articles and movies more than books, but there's one really good book by Judith Butler titled Gender Trouble. Happy to share that book if anybody wants it. I have the e-version of that book. I can think of a few movies, but two movies in particular. One is Boyhood. If any man, any boy can watch this movie of how about the masculine pressures of patriarchy, and this other movie called a Malayalam movie named Kumbalangi Nights, and this is about masculinity and mental health, and how patriarchy, makes it difficult for men to conform or not to conform, and how it takes a toll on their mental health, and how it can go into different directions, and how sort of some become violent when they can't conform, or they conform, and some fall into a much deeper trap.